So today we're talking about what is mantrailing. Throughout this webinar, I'm going to cover the following. What is mantrailing? What is scent? Why do this training? And who this training is for. I'll pause after each section to see if there's any questions on each section. Or as I said before, you can ask at the end. There's not a problem that way either. But yeah, we'll just get going. Before we start though, who am I? So my name is Kevin, and I'm the owner and founder of Borders Mantrailing and Scent Training. I've been working professionally with dogs for over 8 years, probably actually closer to 10, including lots of rescue work, and I work for a local rescue kennel as well. I've worked with hundreds of owners and dogs over these years to overcome basic training to behavioural problems with their dogs. Over the last few years, I've now specialised in scent detection training and mantrailing for pet dogs. Okay. So I'm an accredited Mantrailing UK instructor and assessor. And someone's wanting in, so we'll just admit someone. There we go. So I'm an accredited Mantrailing UK instructor and assessor. Accredited WSDA, which is the World Scent Dog Association, and Centre of UK instructors and judges in both of them. And obviously, over these years, I've been actively working my own dogs as well, which is very important for me to be able to teach what I practice. Cool. So there's a little bit about me, just so you guys know who don't know me. So, what we're here for. What is mantrailing? I'm going to play a video now. Hopefully it comes through okay for yourselves, just so you can get an idea of what mantrailing actually is. You're going to see me work on my own dog, Roxy. It's not sped up or anything like that, so you'll see it in full time, but let me know if it's working okay or not. There we go. So it should be playing now. It might be a wee bit jittery, but you'll get the idea. And I can't help myself. You'll need to excuse the awful line handling in my hand. Don't worry, I'm going to go through what's happened here, etc. We'll come back to this video at the end to talk you through it. I know, Sandra, but it's awful line handling. So there's Roxy finding, in this case, the chap's name is Mark. He was my misper, which I'll come on to later on. So mantrailing is when a dog uses their nose to find a specific person because they're missing, or maybe just for fun. For us, and the way I teach and will always teach, is it is for fun. It is aimed at pet dogs, not operational dogs. So operational dogs are the dogs out there who are obviously doing this for real life, which we'll come on to a bit later. We do it just for fun. So every person has a unique scent. This is made up of the debris that falls off our body as we go about our day-to-day life. It might contain your skin cells, sweat, hormones, and bacteria, most likely a combination of all of them together, which creates your unique scent. As we move, our scent falls off from us and moves around with the air before settling and sticking in the environment. And this is really important for mantrailing, that's sticking to the environment. Obviously, I can't cover everything in this webinar, but I'll cover as much as I can. So the dog's nose is going to follow that scent trail of you to where you were, to where the scent has stuck. So it might not be following your trail exactly, but it's following you because it's trailing you. Okay, so your scent might stick somewhere different to where you've actually walked, such as hedges, things like that. Walls are another one. But yeah, so it moves around a lot. If anyone's ever done tracking before, it's completely different to tracking where it's got to be precise. This is not precise as tracking. In Mantrailing, we present the dog with an article. So it's a scent article of yourself. So if it was myself missing, I would have left something behind, such as a hat, a glove, a jacket, a sock, anything that smells of me, anything that I might have worn or even had contact with. Car keys, water bottles, things like that, we can all use as scent articles. So that article will be contaminated with my scent or whoever the missing person's scent is. We'll then ask our dogs to sniff that. They'll then trail that scent. So if we go back to the video of Roxy, you'll see what I mean now. So I ask her to sniff the article. She then takes the scent. She follows the trail. She knows that the trail has gone to her right. So she follows the trail down here. Scent sticks to grass a lot better than it does to like concrete or tarmac. So it's easier on grass for some dogs. Again, coming down here, she's gone out. She's just eliminating here. So that was a lovely elimination from her to say it's not that direction. That's her now getting a bit cheeky because she can smell that he is very close. So she started barking at me to tell me to hurry up, basically. But you can see her nose is down on the ground a lot because the scent's hitting the ground and settling. And then she goes to go round. I'm not going that way, so she has to come back round. And then she indicates, which for me and Roxy, a sit is an indication. Does that make sense so far to everyone? If there's any questions on that, just pop it in the chat and I'll get it afterwards. So, end of the day, Mantrailing is for us a hide and seek game. The misper, which is the missing person, they'll go off and hide from your dog. Your dog's job is to go and follow that scent trail and find them. It is a team sport. I'll come on to that later on when we talk about who this training is for. But it is a effectively hide and seek game. So, was there any questions on what is Mantrailing? If there is, pop it in the chat box now. Otherwise, we can have a chat at the end. Let me have a look, check chat. Nope, no questions. That's fine. Cool. Okay. So, what is scent now? I'll say this a few times. We could literally talk for hours on what is scent. I'm going to just kind of skim the surface today just to give you an idea of what is scent, okay? It's such a massive subject. Cool. So, there we go. So, scent. It's just something, the way something smells, right? That's what most people would think when you say scent. I'm going to talk you through how far from simple scent actually is. However, as I've just said, I could talk for hours on this. Okay. So we humans, we actually take our sense of smell for granted. As it is not our primary sense, we do not have the same appreciation for scent as, say, our vision. Just so you understand how little appreciation some people have for the sense of smell, there was a survey of over 7,000 people done. It's people surveyed, and about half of the people surveyed would rather give up their sense of smell than give up their access to laptops, phones, or technology. So that just puts it in perspective. That's over 3,500 people would say, I'd rather not smell anything. Fair enough, this survey was on youngsters, mainly youngsters. However, it still shows you that we don't appreciate our scent, our sense of smell. However, obviously, for our dogs, sense of smell is their primary sense. So things are massively different for our dogs. When it comes to our understanding of this critical sense, very few people could actually name the compounds of the systems responsible for the sense of smell. Again, I'm sure most of you can name parts of the visual processing system, things like the eye, the pupil, the retina, for example. But only a handful of people probably could talk about things to do with scent system. So, as it stands, we do not even have an agreed way to clarify scent categories. This is despite lots of people trying since around 1752. 1752 people have been trying to categorize scent, and still we can't agree on it. The bottom line, we do not understand our own ability to smell. It completely mystifies us. And that is before we get into the ludicrous world of the dog's nose, where obviously scent is such a critical sense involved in their everyday life. So, what is scent? For you to understand what I'm going to talk about, I need to talk a little bit geeky here and use some science terminology so you can fully understand what I'm trying to talk about. So just bear with me with this. The sense of smell and the organs associated with the sense of smell are referred to as the olfaction system. So if I say olfaction, obviously I'm talking about smelling things. The olfaction system is one part of what is known as the chemosensory system. The other part of this is the gustatory system, which is the sense of taste. We don't need to worry about that today. As part of the chemosensory system, the olfaction system, which contains something called chemoreceptors, which, as you can guess from the name, receptors responsible for collecting and producing and processing, chemicals. This process is called transduction. Okay. So, when it comes to answering the question, what is scent? Well, right at the heart of it, it's chemistry. A chemical in the air is known as an odorant. It is picked up by the olfaction system, the olfaction system's odor receptors, and results in a neurological chemical change. It affects different areas of the brain, triggering what we then interpret as scent or smells. Getting ahead of myself. So, when our dogs sniff a specific object and take in the scent, it is not the solid object they're actually scenting at all. It is the chemical compounds that are within that object turn into gas. Now, again, scratching the surface here, I could talk for hours about breaking down molecules and stuff like that. We're not going into that. Gas turns into vapor, which then obviously turns into scent. But again, we could go into hours for this. So, if we go back to our question, again, a quick summary. What is scent? Well, scent is a cocktail of volatile compounds vaporized into gas. That at the heart of it is what scent is. But again, as I've said, and I'll say a few times, we're scratching the surface. Okay? It is absolutely amazing. And again, we're just scratching the surface here. Is there any questions on that? I appreciate that. That is literally scraping the surface. But as I've said, I don't want to bore you by spending 3 hours talking about what scent is. So if there's any questions, pop it in the chat box just now, and I can try and answer them as best I can. But it's just, yeah, scent is amazing. Just go check the chat. Nope, no questions. Awesome. If there's no questions, we'll move on. So, why do we do this training? So, our dog's olfaction system surpasses humans. Dogs can detect parts per trillion. Okay, this means dogs can detect odors as diluted as a teaspoon of sugar in around 5 million liters of water, which is approximately 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So if you think about that volume of water, they can detect a teaspoon of sugar. Okay, it's fascinating what our dogs can do. So even with our limited sense of olfaction, humans can detect scents at a distance. So things like smoke or burning, a fire burning in the room down the hall, breakfast from another room, cinnamon buns, and when you walk into like a shop and they've got lovely cinnamon buns, we can detect them. However, there is a limit how close we have to be, and not many people could tell you direction or what actually is going on. However, to our dogs, they can see all this from much further away. They can determine what is actually happening. They can actually almost see it in 3D. That's what we think. Again, it's a lot of this is we think. We think our dogs are seeing everything in 3D. It's something that there's just not enough research being done on. There's a lot getting done, but there's just not enough out there at the moment to state because we don't know how it works. Simple as that. So, all dogs, and I mean all dogs, are natural trailers. It is in their DNA, okay? No matter what the breed, it does not matter. They have the instinct to trail. This is part of the seeking system of the dog. So even little poodles can trail. Okay, little toy poodles can trail. Why? Because it's in the system. It's in their DNA. For us, as I've talked about before, mantrailing is for fun. We do not need to worry about things being life or death. We just get to spend time with our dogs while they get to use their favorite sense. So, mantrailing, unfortunately, it's not something you can learn online. You really need to be doing it in person. You can learn line handling techniques, target sniffing, but you have to practice it, okay? To understand their body language and how to read them correctly. So me and Roxy, I want to say we've been trailing for around 2.5, possibly even 3 years now. And every time I trail, I learn something new with her. We are still learning. It's as simple as that. It will never stop learning. And that is important. That is why you need to get out and practice. You can sit and watch videos all day long, but until you actually get out there and things happen on the trail, you can't tell the difference. And that's something I'm grateful for, having some close friends who know what they're talking about. They can help me understand what's happening as well, because we're not experts, we're all learning. So, another reason for doing this type of training, dogs can link experiences with scent. They probably do. Well, they do. We know they do. This can either be a positive or negative association. For us, of course, we want that to be a positive association. Okay, your dog will then release hormones, which are endorphins and serotonin. They're the feel-good hormones if they enjoy doing something. So again, we want them to do it. So that's why we use really good tasty rewards for dogs so that they want to do this. It's something that they have linked in their brain through that scent. This is good fun. These scent experiences need to be done carefully, as this association can last a lifetime. So if your dog has a negative trail to start with, they could not like to do it ever again. Or that person, if they've got a negative association with that person, they might not like to follow that person because they don't like that scent. Okay. Again, there's lots more going on here, but it's just to give you an idea. This is why in Mantrailing, we want your dog to have so much fun. We want your dog to enjoy it. Again, for the ones who have done Mantrailing with myself or others, it's why we talk about the reward. The reward is everything to your dog. It has to be high value, not just run-the-mill kibble. It has to be super high value food. Needs to be high value. I can't say it enough. So we need to make sure that we do things correctly when we're doing Mantrailing for all breeds and all dogs, but in particular for nervous, fearful, or reactive dogs. And yes, they can trail. In fact, my Roxy, she is dog reactive, yet I still trail her, but I'll come on to that shortly. So, quick summary of this. Scent can be linked for life. So we want them to have a positive experience following or trailing someone. Dogs use their nose for so much, so why not use their primary sense? Why not give them an outlet to use? Okay, it's one of the things, the more they practice with it, the better they get. Okay, my previous shepherd, Zach, I actually don't have a photo to put up. Zach, his nose was awful because he never got a chance to use it till he came and lived with me. Came to live with me at 4-year-old, then started using his nose. Took time for him to understand he's allowed to use it. So, is there any questions about why we would do this type of training? No? Just check the chat box, make sure I'm not missing any. Nope. Cool. Cool. If there's no questions, we shall carry on. There we go. So, who is this training for? As I've kind of touched on, it's for every dog, every breed, every size, every age can do it. It doesn't matter what breed or age. The Mantrailing sport can be learnt by any dog. You don't have to have the typical breeds such as German Shepherds or Spaniels. I've personally worked with breeds such as Great Danes, Staffordshire Bull Terriers, Dachshunds, Boxers, just to name a few. Okay, these are some of the breeds that you might not associate with doing things like this. And then of course I used to trail my own poodle as well. So what I'm trying to say here is really any breed can do it. Yes, of course, I do see a lot of Spaniels and German Shepherds as well. And of course, they're fantastic at it. They're bred to do this type of job. That's fine. But I can tell you right now from this photo here, little Snitchel here, the lead dachshund, he is fantastic and he loves nothing more than to trail. And up here we have Boston, who is another fantastic trailer, who's a staffy. Down here we have a boxer. This was on an introduction course. Again, this was I believe 6 months old boxer. She was brilliant. Absolutely loved it. And of course, Great Dane, they just do things a bit slower. That's the only difference. It's just breed traits do have a effect, but it's just a bit slower for some breeds. But honestly, little Snitchell, he could easily out trail spaniels. He's that quick. So why would you do man trailing? So man trailing is for you if you want to build teamwork, a strong bond with your dog, trust in your dog, enjoy meeting like-minded people because it's a social event. A lot of my guys when we train, they're chatting away to each other, which is perfect. We're all dog people. We all enjoy talking about our dogs and enjoy the outdoors because guess what? It happens in all weathers. Rain, wind, snow, we trail in them all. It's important for your dog to learn that. No point just coming out in lovely sunshine. Your dog needs to learn how to trail in the wet and wind as well, because they make them a lot harder actually. So it's really good for them to learn. And in fact, I was speaking with someone the other day, and she said herself, I think you're here actually, Victoria, that some of your best times have been when it's been chucking down with rain. So it just shows you just need to have a bit of fun. It's an amazing sport for low confidence or reactive dogs. Why? It gives them an outlet, gives them something to do. It can actually change how your dog sees things. So again, my Roxy, who you've seen trail, she is dog reactive. From a distance, she'll see a dog and she will react. When I say react, I mean bark, lunge, typical German Shepherd. But I have on occasions trailed and then passed dogs. She might stop and bark once or twice at that dog. Then she puts her nose back down and gets on with it. She's got other things to do. So it helps build their confidence up. Okay. We've had low confidence dogs attend trailing. And honestly, they're like different dogs when they put that harness on, they're off. They're amazing. Big one for a lot of people, no recall needed. At all times, your dog will be on a long line or a short line. So you never have to worry that your dog is going to run off and chase things. So we do trailing in woodlands, and there's lots of wildlife, deer, pheasants, rabbits, hares, etc. And you don't have to worry about them because your dog is always going to be on a line. Okay, so things like that are brilliant. It's a low impact sport. So when I say low impact, it simply means you're not putting strain on the joints, etc. Obviously, the more they pull on the harness, but we'd cover this in our instructions why we need to wear harnesses. But I'll touch on it very briefly. Dogs are not allowed to trail on collars because it's dangerous. It'll affect the tracheas. You don't want that pressure on their neck. You need that pressure on a harness, so it's on the chest of the dog. So I've not personally, but I know dogs who have trailed who are tripod, so missing a leg, disabled dogs, and who have got wheels, and then there's been blind dogs who have trailed as well. So it's accessible to every breed, every dog, no matter what. Doesn't matter the age. I've had over 10 starting with me, down to youngsters. Okay, it's for fun. This dog sport will bring out the best in any of you. If you want to make you and your dog a team, this is the sport for you. You'll spend a long time learning how things work. You learn how to trust your dog, and it takes time. And I'll say it, there's times where you think, I never thought that was possible, and they've just gone and done it. Okay? It's honestly, take my word for it, it's fantastic. So I've got another video for you to watch of me and Roxy trailing. It is sped up a little bit this time, but now you've had a little bit of understanding what's going on. I want you to watch. You'll see her. I'll do a wee bit of commentary over it. You'll see what she does, and why I trust her. I give her lines so she can show me which direction to go. So There we go. So I approached the scent article. She took the scent and chose a direction. We come to an intersection here, and you can see she went off to the right. I allowed her to go. She then had a good sniff around, said it's not that way. And you notice she went across to the verge. The scent is likely to have stuck over there at that point because the wind would have pushed it across. Again, we'll trail up here, and then there's the Whisper. Again, nice indication from her. So she is telling me where it is, where the person's gone. Little things like that. Even if I knew where that trail went, so we'll pop it on again. Even if I know which direction the trail's gone, right? I have to let her tell me. There has to be trust, otherwise you're not a team. Again, when we come up to this junction again, I don't know how well it's coming through on your screens. Hopefully it's coming well, fine. Even if I know the trail straight ahead, I have to let her go in and tell me it's not that way. Because when I don't know when the trail is, I need to trust my dog. Okay? And there we go. Find the person again. So I cannot reiterate how much this training has changed her life. I got Roxy at 9 months old. She was a handful, shall we say. Dog reactive. Hadn't had any socialization or training or anything. And it's something that I've always said is I wish I knew or did Mantrailing when I first got her, because she would be a different dog. When she trails, she trails. She is fantastic. It's what she was born to do, which is great for her. If she was a bit more sociable, we might have even thought about trying operational, but we're not. That's fine. We just do it for fun. I'll just add on to here as well that she is a very demanding German Shepherd, possibly got a cross Belgium in there. She's very high drive. She doesn't like just a walk or two a day. She needs that stimulation. If I trail her once or twice a week, she's shattered. She's completely shattered. And it's the same for a lot of dogs. I work at the rescue, as I've said, and there's a dog up there which I believe is a Dutch herder or some form of herder cross. And he is so switched on. Anytime we've trailed with him, the next day he's silent, he's quiet, he's so calm because he's tired. He's using that brain. So, any questions about the things I've talked about today, or that you want to ask about Mantrailing or about scent, anything like that, or do you think your dog would be suitable? Fire away just now. Now's a chance to pop it in the chat box and ask some questions. Now's your chance, basically, to speak to a Mantrailing instructor. No questions from anyone? If you have questions in the chat box and you don't want to see it, all right, here we go from Avril. Yes. So she's asking, does different types of weather affect the scent? Absolutely. So cold and hot have different effects in the scent. If it's cold, the scent doesn't last as long. Same if it's really hot. But it's really what I'll do, Avril, just for you. I'll pop up a thing in our scent group so you know what I'm talking about. But yes, it completely does. Same in the snow. Snow affects trailing, wind, rain, all of them completely affected. That's where I'm saying the dogs need to learn to trail in all environments and all weather so they understand how it works differently. Question here. My dog is very reactive and seems to be much more afraid in the evenings. How would you recommend I approach trailing with him? So I would recommend you speak to your closest instructor first, and I would probably suggest that you meet up so the dog can meet your instructor first if there's noise reactivity issues. They'll be able to tell you what's best for them in their locations. It depends on the noise reactivity. If it's gunshots, etc., then we can obviously manage that. If it's traffic, we can manage that as well. But it'll just depend. Speak to your closest instructor. But that's what I'd like me. If it was me, I'd have to find out a bit more about what's going on. I would also use Mantrailing potentially as part of a behavior modification program for yourself because it's such a good outlet. But speak to a Mantrailing UK instructor. They'll be the best people to advise you whoever's closest, basically. Which, if you're looking for that, head to just mantrailinguk.com and go to find an instructor. Hopefully that helps. Right, scrolling down. Tracy, I think my dog would love this as he's only 6 months old. Absolutely. You can start them at 8 weeks old. As soon as they've had their vaccinations, they're good to go. To get started with Mantrailing UK anyway, you need to find your closest Mantrailing UK instructor. I only recommend going to Mantrailing UK instructors because we are accredited. We spent a week training with Lisa, who is the owner and founder of Mantrailing UK, training, and we've been assessed on our abilities to teach. Okay, and same with the assessor, myself and two others in Scotland are assessors, so we can assess your dogs as you move up the levels in Mantrailing. But absolutely start them as soon as you can. Terry, my dog loves to trail me around the garden. I think they would love this. Absolutely, definitely find your closest instructor. Also, something that happened during so during lockdown, we need groups, unfortunately. So for Mantrailing, you need a bare minimum of 3 people. So that would be myself as the instructor, yourself, and your dog as the team, and then you need a misper. So you need at least 3 people. And all the guidelines at the moment, you're only allowed to meet up with 1 person. So it's no, unfortunately not. Hopefully we can get back out. I'm hoping for March, but who knows? Unfortunately, no. Leonie, no questions. Yep, same to you. Can't wait to see Cooper and Leo. Cooper and I've forgotten your other dog's name. How bad of me. My apologies, Leonie. Lola. Mind blank. Yes, can't wait to see them too. Avril, once your dog is done, scent work and Mantrailing, then does your come. Absolutely. The more you, it's more like anything. The more they practice, the better they get. So the more they practice using that nose, the better they get at it. Simple as that. All right. Yeah. Got there in the end, Leonie. Can't believe that. Forgot your name, the dog's name. I'm based in the Scottish Borders, for anyone who doesn't know. More than happy to be hosted if there's no instructors close to you. Just drop me a wee email. We can have a chat about things like that. Obviously, it all depend on current situations. Okay, it's hard to tell exactly what's going on, but hopefully we can get out soon. I know my dog Roxy's missing trailing, and speaking to some of the guys who trail me regularly, they're missing it. So, is there any more questions while I'm here? Corin was getting good as well, so hopefully she'll be back soon. And hopefully a paw's okay, her claw. Cool. I'll check the... Good, glad it is. I'll check the chat box again before we finish. So I am just going to go through a little bit at the end here. So, just now, brings us to the end of this webinar on what mantrailing is. I really do hope you've learned it and learned how amazing this sport can be for our pet dogs. As I've talked about, if you're interested in starting, I recommend, if you're in the UK, that you check out mantrailing.uk.com and find your closest instructor. At the moment, we can't run them while we're in lockdown, as I've said. If you're close by to me, drop me an email. I can add you to my wait list, and I'll be in touch with you as soon as I know my next intros are going to be run. If you're outside the UK, I can certainly ask around to see who's the best person to contact, but I can't guarantee that, obviously, because it's a wee bit different when you're abroad. But I can certainly try and find out. As I mentioned, I'm happy to be hosted by anyone if you don't have an instructor. So that includes in different countries. I'm expected to go into, I was hoping to get out to Spain this summer and be hosted out there. Well, there was an offer. We hadn't actually talked any details yet. But it's definitely something I'd love to do with mantrailing and or scent detection. So if you're interested in that, definitely drop me an email. We can have a chat. The email for anyone is borderscent@gmail.com, or on Facebook. Obviously, you can do it, or go on the website, as you all had to get a place here, and pop a message that way. Once again, thank you very much for coming along, giving me some of your time. Hopefully hear from you all soon, and hopefully get your dogs out trailing soon. Perfect. Thank you very much. Bye.